On Christmas, I was branded a monster. After my daughter's friend lied about me, my ex spread it online, and my own daughter called me disgusting. When the police cleared me and the girl finally confessed, I took a DNA test that shattered 20 years of lies. Hey Reddit, my name's Daniel Reed, 42, ex-military. My ex and I had a one-night thing back in college that turned into 2 decades of chaos, deception, and a daughter I believed was mine. I tried to stay responsible, to be the bigger person, to keep the peace. But everything came crashing down one Christmas. Before that, let's start from the beginning. That year, the first snow came early, the kind that silences everything except old debts that never die. These days, I run a small private security firm out of a converted warehouse on the edge of town. It pays the bills, keeps my instincts sharp, and leaves enough quiet to think. My mornings never change. Up at 5, black coffee, 50 push-ups, shower, client emails. Structure keeps chaos at bay. The world spins fine on its own. I just keep my corner steady. The kitchen smelled faintly of roasted beans and cold metal. I poured my coffee into a chipped clay mug, the one with Dad scratched into the side. My daughter Malene made it when she was 7, before she learned to hate me. I could replace it easily, but I never did. It reminded me I still had a heart, no matter how often I'd had to lock it away. Her mother, Sophia, was the mistake that kept collecting interest. We met in our 20s. Beautiful, clever, and never consistent. The pregnancy came fast, and she made sure I'd play the hero. I did what men like me do. Handled things, paid rent, bought the crib, tried to build something from smoke. She used that sense of duty like a weapon, prying money and apologies from me for 20 years. I never married her. Period. Confirm what I already knew, that she'd turn love into leverage. Still, I stayed for Malene. She deserved at least that. 2 decades later, I was still paying. Tuition, emergencies, anything Sophia could frame as my responsibility. It wasn't about the money anymore. It was about finishing what I started. That morning, my inbox lit up. Client travel notices, renewals, and one subject line that made me pause. Possible rumor, FYI. An old client had sent it. A screenshot of a forum thread hinting at ethical issues in private security. Nothing pointed at me directly, but the timing was too familiar. Sophia always knew where to whisper when she wanted attention. I deleted it. No point fueling fires that weren't lit yet. Outside, snow was layering quietly over the driveway. I checked the security cameras. Empty road, no movement, just stillness. Then my phone buzzed. A message from Malene. Spending Christmas with you. Clara's coming too. Try not to make it weird. No greeting, no question. Just a statement, like she was reserving a hotel room. Classic Sophia tone. Just updated for Gen Z. Malene had her mother's confidence, but not her calculation. Last year, she skipped Christmas because of exams. The year before, she brought a boyfriend who couldn't make eye contact and spent the weekend vaping in my garage. Now she was bringing a friend, Clara. I didn't know the name. Probably another woke friend who thought boundaries were oppression. Still, she was my daughter. Or at least I thought she was, and if she wanted to spend Christmas here, she'd find the house in order. I rinsed my mug under running water, watching the word Dad blur into nothing. Outside, the ice crystals on the snow caught the morning light like shards of glass. In the living room, the fireplace sat unused, the wood stacked neatly beside it. I hadn't decorated in years. Holidays meant noise and pretending. I preferred work, training, or sleep. Still, I considered putting up a small tree, just to give her one less thing to complain about. They arrived later than expected, near dusk. I heard the bass before I saw headlights. The kind that rattles windows and screams we don't care who's sleeping. When the SUV stopped halfway up the driveway, I was already at the door with my coffee. Milene jumped out first, phone in hand, filming some road trip vlog for her followers. Clara stepped out next, tall, stylish, overdressed for the snow. They laughed like they'd just entered a party, not my house. "Inside by 10, I said when they finally noticed me. Milene laughed. "Sure thing, General." "Good," I replied, deadpan. "Inspections at 0900. Clara giggled, unsure if I was serious. Milene rolled her eyes. "You haven't changed." They dragged in 2 suitcases each. No thanks for having us, no Merry Christmas, just boots and chargers scattered across the floor. I waited until they went upstairs before mopping up the melted ice they tracked in. By 7, I started dinner: roast chicken, vegetables, bread. Cooking is quiet, structured, like therapy with a timer. At 8, everything was ready. At 8:30, I called them down. No response. At 8:40, they appeared. Milene looked around. "No decorations, not even a tree? You live like a serial killer." I shrugged. "A clean house doesn't lie." She smirked. "Deep, that's tombstone material." Clara smiled. "I like it. Minimalist, feels peaceful." "See," I said, "someone gets it." "Don't encourage him," Milene said. "He's been giving people discipline speeches since I was in diapers." "Worked on you," I said. "You're still alive." She made a face but didn't argue. I counted that as a win. Halfway through dinner, Clara looked up. "You were in the army, right? Ever see action?" I nodded. "Plenty. Nothing Hollywood-worthy, just long days, bad coffee, and worse weather." Clara smiled. "Sounds pretty Hollywood to me." Milene groaned. "Here we go. He's going to start talking about structure and accountability." "Wouldn't dream of it," I said. "I'm off duty." Clara laughed. Even Milene smiled before going back to her phone. After dinner, I cleared the table while they posted photos. The food, the fire, the wine. Hashtagging simple Christmas vibes, like they'd invented minimalism. "Phones off after 9, I said. "Keeps the house quiet." Clara blinked. "You're serious?" "Mostly," I said. "Exceptions for emergencies or memes worth sharing." That got a laugh. I'd take it. At 9:15, I went to my office to answer an email. When I came back, they were watching a rom-com, volume way too high. 10 o'clock, I reminded them. "We just started," Milene said. "You can finish tomorrow," I replied. She gave me that look, half defiance, half habit, but didn't argue. "You're impossible, but somehow effective," I said. Clara smiled as they went upstairs. I locked up and checked the sensors. Habit, not paranoia. The house went quiet again. "Less morgue, more merry," she shot back, rolling her eyes. "Honestly, you owe us that much after all these years." "I owe you nothing," I said, and hung up. I stared at my reflection in the black screen. Same face, same patience, same exhaustion. I cleaned the counter, put the knife away, poured myself a small bourbon. Outside, snow kept falling. The world looked peaceful again. My phone buzzed with a text. Greta, my lawyer. Me. Odds on me surviving Christmas without incident? Greta. Slim. Have it if wine's involved. I smiled. Upstairs, the girls laughed about something. For a moment, it sounded almost like family again. The fire crackled low, bourbon warm in my hand. Not peace, but close enough. Christmas Eve came quiet and cold. The storm started at sunset, soft, then steady. By midnight, snow piled against the porch rails, and the wind swallowed every sound. Inside, everything was still. I was in the living room, finishing a set of push-ups. I always double my routine when the weather gets loud. The girls were asleep. I'd locked up, set alarms, dimmed the fire. I'd earned my drink and some rest. Then I heard footsteps on the stairs. Thought maybe Malene forgot something, but it was Clara. She wore an oversized sweater and socks, hair messy, cheeks flushed. "Couldn't sleep?" I asked. She smiled, holding half a glass of wine. "Not really. The storm's loud." "Storms don't bother you if you're tired enough," I said, standing. She leaned against the doorframe, swirling her glass. "You really live like this all the time? Quiet house? Everything in order?" "It works for me." "Must get lonely," she said softly. "I've had worse company," I said. She laughed softly, stepping closer to the fireplace. "You know, you're not like guys my age." I dried my hands with a towel. "I'll take that as a compliment." "It is," she replied. "Most of them are distracted, no focus, no real goals. You're different." "Different's one word for it," I said lightly. She took a small step closer. "You don't even try to impress people. It's intimidating." "Or boring," I offered. "Not boring," she said quietly. "Attractive." The word lingered longer than it should have. I set the towel. "You didn't," I said. "You just need some sleep before you trip over something you can't fix in the morning." She hesitated, eyes glossy. "You really don't like me, do you?" "I like you just fine," I said gently. "But you're my daughter's friend. That makes you off limits, even for compliments." She nodded, embarrassed. "I get it. I'm sorry." "Nothing to be sorry for," I said, softening my tone. "Go upstairs, drink some water, get some rest." She started to reply, but her voice cracked and she stopped. The silence stretched before she finally turned and walked upstairs. I waited until her door closed before exhaling. I wasn't angry, just tired. It was one of those moments that could easily turn bad if handled poorly. I was grateful it hadn't. The next morning, the house was quiet again. Snow had stopped falling. Everything outside looked clean and still. I made coffee, started breakfast, and checked the guest rooms. Clara's door was open, her bag gone, the bed neatly. On the counter sat a folded note. It read, "Thanks for letting me stay." 10 minutes later, Malene came downstairs, phone in hand, already annoyed. "Where's Clara?" "She left early," I said. "Didn't say where she was going." Malene frowned. "She wouldn't just leave. What did you do?" "Careful how you phrase that," I said calmly. "I knew this was a mistake," she snapped. "She texted me last night saying you two were talking. What happened?" "Nothing that deserves that tone," I replied. "You scared her off, didn't you? You always do this. Act nice, then say something that makes people uncomfortable." I leaned against the counter. "Malene, take a breath. Clara was fine when she went upstairs. Maybe she just wanted to get home before the roads iced over." Malene shook her head. "I don't believe you." "You don't have to," I said evenly. "But maybe ask your friend before accusing your father." That pushed her over the edge. She stormed out of the kitchen, grabbed her coat, and stepped outside. Through the window, I heard her call Sophia on speakerphone. "Mom, he scared her. Clara said he made it weird." Then Sophia's voice cut through the cold air, sharp and theatrical. "I told you he couldn't be trusted. He's always been like this, hiding behind that military act." Malene kept pacing, voice shaking. I didn't interrupt. When the call ended, she came back inside, slamming the door. "She's coming to pick me up," she said flatly. "Fine," I replied. "You know where your bags are." She stomped upstairs, muttering under her breath. I poured another cup of coffee and sat at the table, staring out at the frozen yard. The air felt heavy but still. No yelling, no noise, just quiet. I wasn't angry. I knew once something like this started rolling, it had momentum. Trying to fight it only made it worse. I took a slow sip of coffee and muttered to myself, "Merry Christmas." Christmas morning was too quiet. Snow covered everything. Bright, untouched, blinding. The silence felt like it was waiting for bad news. I made coffee, checked the cameras, and sat down. Before my first sip, the phone started buzzing. It was a post from Clara. Public, dramatic, impossible to ignore. I don't feel safe sharing details, but I need to say this. A man I trusted tried to force himself on me last night. I got away before anything happened. If you know me, you know who it is. Please believe me. Her porch cam had her leaving at 6:08 a.m. Calm, bags in hand. Those two facts didn't belong in the same story. She didn't name me, but she didn't need to. She'd posted photos from my house all weekend. Our dinner, the living room, the snow outside. People could connect the dots. 5 minutes later, Malene reposted it. I believe her. Believe women. Her next story said, "No one knows what happens behind closed doors." I didn't need to scroll further to know where this was heading. Sophia arrived before noon. Malene grabbed her bags and left without a word. The house was mine again. Quiet, cold, still. By lunch, Sophia had joined in online. My daughter's bravery gives me life. Predators hide behind discipline and respectability, but not this time. She even attached an old photo of me holding Malene as a toddler, tagged me by name. That's when rumor turned into identify. I didn't panic. I just sat back, phone buzzing, and let the silence sit. Calls, texts, comments, messages, noise feeding on itself. Then an email came in from a long-term client. "Daniel, we've seen some posts circulating. Until this clears up, we'll have to pause our contract. No judgment, just protocol." Protocol. That word always means someone's protecting themselves. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my laptop, started a new spreadsheet, and typed timeline at the top. Every message, every call, every text, logged with timestamps. Clara asking to stay for the weekend. Malene's selfie at dinner. Porch footage of Clara leaving at 6:08 a.m. Her thank you note on the counter. No emotion, just facts. When the list hit 30 entries, I called my lawyer, Greta Shaw. She picked up before the second ring. "Let me guess, you woke up?" she said. "Looks that way." "I've already seen the posts," she said. "Clara went public enough that a few gossip pages picked it up." Of course she did. "All right," Greta said, her tone sharp. "First rule, don't contact anyone. Not Clara, not your daughter, not Sophia. Screenshot everything. You'll thank me later." Already doing it. "That's why I don't charge you panic tax," she said dryly. "We'll draft statements only if law enforcement reaches out. Until then, you stay quiet." "Got it." "And Daniel," she added, "don't underestimate this. Even false stories stick for a while." "I know," I said. "That's why I'm writing it all down." By 3 in the afternoon, there was a knock at the door. 2 uniformed officers. "Mr. Reed?" "Yeah. Mind if we come in? We got a report of a possible sexual assault here last night." I stepped aside. "You can take the statement here." They declined coffee. I pulled up the porch camera footage on my tablet. "I'll export the video and the messages for you. You can verify her Uber record. She left at 6:08 a.m. Calm. Bags packed. The younger officer watched the clip while the older one took notes. "We'll attach the media and pull the ride logs," he said. "Clara's the accuser?" "Apparently. You two have any prior relationship?" "She's my daughter's friend. Stayed the weekend, that's all." The younger one nodded. "Looks like she left calm. No sign of distress." "Exactly," I said. They exchanged a glance. "We still have to file a report," the older one said. "But between you and me, this doesn't look like what she's describing online." "Appreciate you doing your job," I said. He smiled faintly. "You'd be surprised how many start on social media and end with nothing." They left 20 minutes later, boots crunching through the snow. I watched their car disappear, then turned back inside. The house felt smaller now. Same walls, different air. I shut the blinds, silenced my phone, and went to the garage. The gym was cold and empty. I gripped the barbell and started lifting. Each rep matched my breath. Steel doesn't lie. Halfway through, the phone buzzed. I ignored it. Sweat burned my eyes, but I kept going. After an hour, I checked. Hundreds of notifications, comments, people tagging my name, even old coworkers asking if I was okay. I turned the phone off completely and tossed it aside. That's how it worked now. One post, and the mob builds itself. The truth has to crawl uphill just to be seen. I racked the weights, wiped my face, and muttered, "Noise can't touch discipline." Then I reset the timer and went again. They watched the video in silence. The mother covered her mouth. "I'm so sorry." I closed the laptop. "You don't owe me an apology," I said. "Your daughter does." The father nodded slowly. "She's in the car. She wanted to talk to you." "Bring her in." He stepped outside and returned a minute later with Clara. Her hair was messy, her eyes swollen. She couldn't meet my eyes. I waited quietly until she finally spoke. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice shaking. "I lied. I didn't mean for it to get that far. I was embarrassed. My friends saw pictures from your house and started teasing me about having a crush on you. I told them you made a move, just to sound, I don't know, interesting." The mother closed her eyes. The father looked defeated. I leaned forward slightly. "Do you realize what that lie cost?" She nodded, crying harder. "Yes, I didn't think it would." "That's the problem," I said. "You didn't think. You just wanted attention." She buried her face in her hands, sobbing. I gave her a moment, then spoke calmly. "I'm not here to ruin your life, Clara. I'm not even angry. But you're lucky I had proof. Next time, someone else might not." She nodded through tears. I turned to her parents. "You help her understand. The world won't be as forgiving." They both nodded, ashamed. The father stood. "We'll handle it. You have our word." I walked them to the door. Before leaving, the mother said quietly, "She'll make a public apology." "Make sure she does it right," I said. "No half-truths." They left, the Mercedes tires crunching over the snow. Inside, I texted Greta. Clara confessed. Parents apologized. Perfect. We'll document it. Cease and desist stands. An hour later, Sophia went online again, claiming I was sending threats and legal letters to silence a mother defending her child. Greta called minutes later. "Your ex is trying to stir things up again. I'm sending her a final warning. After that, we file for defamation." "Send it," I said. By the next morning, Sophia's posts were gone. Not deleted, erased. Her entire account vanished. Greta texted, told her next word costs her. For the first time in a week, I exhaled. Not victory, just relief. I still lost a major contract that week. The client who paused operations never came back. That was fine. I didn't chase people who lost their backbone. But two new clients reached out, both former military. Both said they respected how I handled everything. One told me, "Anyone else would have lost it. You stayed calm." Later, Greta called. "How's it feel to have your name back?" "Quiet," I said. "Quiet's good," she replied. "It means people know not to test you." After the call, I sat by the window with a cup of coffee, watching snow melt from the trees. The house was still. No buzzing phone, no noise. Just silence. The kind that follows a storm you didn't start, but finished. That night, Greta called again. Clara's parents followed through. Check her feed. I opened my phone. Plain white background, black text. "I want to publicly apologize to Daniel Reed. What I said about him wasn't true. He never hurt me or made me feel unsafe. I lied and panicked when it spread. I take full responsibility for the harm I caused." The comments were chaos. Half demanded more, half attacked her. The internet rarely forgives. Malene stayed silent. No posts, no texts. That part hurt more than I expected. Sophia stayed quiet too, probably on advice from a lawyer. For the first time in months, my name was clear. I should have felt relieved, but I mostly felt tired. A week later, things returned to normal. Clients called again. Contracts reopened. The noise faded. The world moved on. But Malene hadn't called. No texts, no likes, nothing. Funny, being falsely accused by a stranger hurt less than being ignored by my own daughter. Clara's lie left a scar. Malene's silence made it sting. I didn't chase it. I went back to my routine. Coffee, emails, gym, calls. The house was quiet, but it didn't feel the same. One morning, Greta called. "You're legally clear. How's it feel?" "Efficient," I said. "That's not a feeling." "I'm not sure I've got one left." She paused. "You're done on paper. Are you done in your head?" "Not yet." That night, I couldn't sleep. A line from Greta echoed in my mind. Biological ties. It reminded me of old arguments with Sophia. The times she'd said, "You don't even know what's yours." Back then, I thought it was just venom. Now, I wasn't sure. By morning, I'd made up my mind. I texted Malene. "Need to talk. Public place. Just one conversation." She replied an hour later. "Fine. Coffee on Main. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. The next day, I arrived early. Small downtown cafe, busy enough to stay neutral. When she walked in, she looked older, worn, still beautiful, but sharper. "Thanks for meeting," I said. "I almost didn't." "I know. We sat. I ordered coffee. She didn't touch hers." "Before you get defensive," I said, "I'm not here to fight. I just want one thing, a DNA test." Her jaw tightened. "You're kidding." "I'm not. It's not about punishment. I just want the truth." "You're unbelievable," she said. "After everything, now you want to humiliate my mom?" "This isn't about her." It always is with you. You can't stand that she moved on. You want proof to throw in her face. "Malene," I said quietly, "look at me." She hesitated, then met my eyes. "Even if that test says I'm not your father," I said, "it doesn't erase what I've done for you. School, bills, waiting up for you. I'm not asking for gratitude, just the truth." That silenced her. After a moment, she whispered, "Fine, I'll do it. But you pay." Deal. We scheduled it the same day. Neutral lab, no drama. The results took a week. I didn't dwell on it. When Greta called, she asked, "Want me to read them?" "Go ahead." "Not a match. 0% probability. You're not the father." I was silent for a few seconds. I didn't feel anger, just confirmation. "You okay?" she asked. "Better than fine." That night, I called Sophia. She answered on the third ring. "I figured you'd call," she said. "You knew. DNA doesn't define who raised her." "No," I said, "but it defines who—" I hung up. For the first time in 20 years, I didn't owe her a word. The next morning, Greta said, "We can move forward with the paternity fraud suit." Do it. Going after money? Closure. 6 weeks later, it ended. Greta called. "Judge ruled in your favor. Sophia owes partial repayment." It was never about money. "I know," she said. "It's about accountability." Then she added, "We found the real father. Greg Harmon, old coworker, divorced twice, broke, still in contact with her. For believing Clara, for what I posted, for not talking to you. Can we meet?" I read it twice. It sounded sincere. The next day, I replied, "Come by tomorrow, noon." When she arrived, she looked like a ghost of the girl I used to pick up from school. Same eyes, softer now. "Hi," she said quietly. "Hi," I replied. We sat in the living room. She started crying. "I believed everything she said about you. I feel stupid." "You were raised by a good liar," I said. "That's not your fault. I should have known better." "No, you were a kid." She wiped her eyes. "I'm sorry for what I said online. I didn't think it'd hurt you." "It didn't," I said. "Not compared to losing you." She looked at me, waiting for something. Maybe forgiveness. "I forgave you before you asked," I said. "But forgiveness doesn't rebuild what's gone." Her face fell. "So that's it? You don't want me in your life?" "I want you to have your own, not one built on guilt. That means we both start fresh." She nodded, crying but didn't argue. "I'll send your things." "Keep them," I said. "They're just things." When she left, I felt no anger, just closure. I spent the next week cutting ties, closing accounts, selling assets, deleting contacts. Then I sold the house. 20 years of ghosts in one moving truck. I bought a small cabin near the mountains. 1 bedroom, 1 fireplace, no neighbors. The first morning there, I woke to silence, so deep it felt earned. Greta called days later. "How's retirement from drama?" "Peaceful," I said. "Thinking about what's next?" "Yeah, something useful." I started volunteering with a veterans mentorship group. Men trying to rebuild their lives. One asked, "Why are you here?" "To remind people starting over isn't failure," I said. "It's proof you survived." Months passed quietly. On Christmas Eve, a year after everything ended, I didn't decorate, just strung a line of lights outside. Not nostalgia, closure. That night, a letter arrived. No return address. Clara's parents. "Mr. Reed, thank you for how you handled everything. Clara's in therapy, back in school, doing better. We'll never forget your kindness. Merry Christmas." I read it once, then fed it to the fire. The paper curled and vanished. Outside, snow began to fall, soft, steady, peaceful. I poured a glass of bourbon and sat by the fire. For the first time in years, I didn't feel responsible for anyone. Not Sophia, not Malene, not ghosts. I watched the flames fade and whispered, "Peace isn't given, it's built, one boundary at a time." Then I leaned back and let the quiet take over.